Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Attorney John Deaton has been talking about some very interesting things lately, and I want to have a discussion about this and share with you what he's been saying. Because look, he's been talking about Ripple's XRP holdings being forcibly burnt by other participants within the XRP ecosystem. He's highlighting proof that the SEC did not know how to regulate the crypto space as late as 2018, which resulted in them outsourcing to law firms the creation of guidelines designed to regulate this space. And this, of course, plays into Ripple's fair notice defense, as, after all, if the SEC was seeking help from law firms in 2018 to determine what constitutes a securities transaction in crypto, well, how could Ripple have known that what they were doing was wrong back in 2013? We're going to talk about this. Attorney John Deaton also highlights how XRP is arguably more decentralized than both Ethereum and Bitcoin. So plenty to dig into here, but before going further, I do want to be clear at the outset. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby, just for fun. And in we go, and oh, the fun we will have here. And so here's what John Deaton shared on Twitter. Buckle up, boys and girls. This is a good one. William Hinman gave Ether a free pass regarding its ICO because he adopted the decentralization argument fed to him by prominent Ether investors. That's a fact, not an opinion. Nancy Wachtas was there, and she speaks the truth. And so I'm not going to play this clip. There's a 2-minute clip here, but I can sum up the important parts for you here. And that's her on the screen right now. SEC Chairman Jay Clayton, just years ago, when he was SEC chair, when Jay Clayton was SEC chair, he told multiple law firms, including the one that Nancy is at, told multiple law firms, got them together, got a group together, and told them to come up with guidance for the market because they're tired of relying only on the Howey test. And so you got to ask yourself here, if clarity existed for the crypto space, as Jay Clayton has insisted, then why would he request this? Why do you need a working group? As Nancy cites right here, and she names all the law firms that are involved with it. Why do you need a working group if there's sufficient clarity? Well, there's not sufficient clarity, and there's poor messaging on top of that. And so this goes exactly into Ripple's fair notice defense. There's no way Ripple could have known that what they were doing wrong would be viewed as wrong in the future by the SEC. There's no way they possibly could have known this because the SEC didn't know what the hell they were doing, just flying by the seat of their rear side, you know? So, and not just that. You know what else came out of this working group here? On top of the entire concept of, there's certainly not sufficient clarity from the SEC, and this is proof of it. This is clear. Anybody that's unbiased learning about this would take this information and be like, wow, yeah, the fact that Jay Clayton did that's a strong piece of evidence. But you know what came out of this? The framework for Bill Hinman's 2018 Ethereum free pass speech. That's the framework. That's where it came from. The framework for his speech came from these law firms. That's it. He didn't just come up with this on his own. It's astonishing. And so then John Deaton continues here. I guess that's probably everything I want to say on that. But, just to wrap it up, again, Jay Clayton would not have requested that group get together if they were clear. Okay, all right. Moving on. And then John Deaton writes the following. Hinman never explained exactly what about Ether's decentralized structure caused sales of Ether to fall outside the U.S. securities laws. It's 3.5 years later, and market participants and investors still don't know how to define sufficient decentralization. Ripple fought hard to get any evidence related to the SEC's analysis of Ether, Bitcoin, and XRP. If Ripple can show the XRP ledger is equal or more decentralized than the Ether network, Ripple could win based on fair notice. So let me pause there. Now that's if the judge. I made a video where I was talking about this very recently. That's if the judge allows the fair notice defense to stand, and it better be allowed to stand. I cannot imagine a world where it is not allowed to stand. There's just overwhelming evidence on this. Anyway, John continues, but what does sufficiently decentralized mean? Before we can have an honest discussion regarding decentralization, we must first distinguish the token from the network. Most Ripple and XRP critics immediately raise the issue that Ripple owns 55% of all XRP. They argue, therefore, XRP is centralized. Critics often conflate token ownership with network centralization. In my opinion, the SEC is also guilty of focusing too much on the token itself when analyzing U.S. securities laws. I'm not alone in my belief. SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce has been critical of the SEC for this approach. During Thinking Crypto's first interview with Hester, she states she's trying to get her colleagues to stop thinking of the token as the security. It's quite alarming she spends any time making that point because Howey never declared the oranges to be a security. Yeah, so that's why I want to make this. I haven't made this point in a while, but check this out. Like this is so true. No cryptocurrency on the planet is a security. Zero. Because it's all about the way the specific facts and circumstances surrounding the way in which a cryptocurrency is being sold. It's not the nature of it existing that makes it a security. Just like the orange, but the nature of the orange existing doesn't make it a security. It can be sold and packaged in such a way that it's sold as a security. But no, and if there's an exception to that I haven't considered, where by the nature of a cryptocurrency existing, it is a security, if there's one that I haven't considered, that's possible. Somebody pointed out because I think that would be interesting to think through. But I am unaware of any cryptocurrency by the nature of it existing is a security. And anyway, John continues here. The SEC alleges that all XRP, including the XRP traded in the secondary market, represents an investment contract with Ripple. In short, the SEC alleges the very nature of XRP makes it a security. Yeah, so let me pause there just to note that it's infuriating that they're making this argument because it's complete and utter BS. I don't even think they believe it. I really don't think they believe it. They're just arguing it. Whatever they can throw out there and they just hope it sticks. That's all these asshats at the SEC are hoping for. That's it. And so John writes, therefore, if the SEC gets what it wants, all XRP will be deemed a security. XRP holders simply seek a firm declaration of the law. In fact, Ripple could lose part of the case, i.e., sales of XRP by Ripple between 2013 through 2017 are ruled securities, while XRP holders get a total victory. Our victory comes in the form of a declaratory and/or summary judgment. Although Congress should be providing the clarity, it's unlikely to happen, and Gary Gensler will never define sufficient decentralization because he wants maximum prosecutorial options. Pause. I've been saying this for the longest damn time. They're intentionally vague because it gives them more power. That's exact. They don't want to provide market clarity, which would help all the entrepreneurs invested in the space. It would provide protection for people investing so that what they're holding doesn't get price-wise cratered into oblivion when the SEC ends up suing whoever's running whatever platform. That type of stuff. They don't want to provide the safety and protection to investors that they're sworn to protect. That's not their purpose. Is to expand their power and leave their options open. That's exactly it. They are completely non-committal on this stuff. Which is why, if you were dating the SEC, it's like you're going to get your heart broken because the SEC will never commit to you. They will never provide that clarity. Now, I don't know why I'd want to go out with the SEC anyway. It's not physically attractive. Not physically attractive. The SEC as an organization. Anyway, John continues. Thus, how Judge Torres rules regarding XRP may be the only guidance the market and investors get. One key to victory is making sure the court is aware of the distinction between the token and the network because the analysis may come down to what constitutes sufficient decentralization. If token ownership is a determining factor, then XRP isn't sufficiently decentralized. But if sufficient decentralization is determined by analyzing the control over the network, as it should be, then the XRP ledger is without question sufficiently decentralized. And I got to ask, look, if and again, I think we're on the same page that Ripple's holdings of XRP has nothing to do with centralized. That's a concentration of XRP that has nothing to do with centralization. But even if the court thinks that that has something to do with centralization, I got to ask, what's the percentage that can be held, the biggest percentage that can be held for it to not be a security? Because the devil's in the details here. How much XRP would Ripple be allowed to hold for it to not be considered a secure, or to be sufficiently decentralized? What is that magical number? And the thing about it is, it would just be an arbitrary number that they'd have to select, pulling it out from the rear side where the sun don't shine. That's exactly what it would be. It would just be something that somebody thought sounded good and they make it up. That's all that it would be. And it would have nothing to do with any sort of powers or permissions over the decentralized XRP ledger or XRP itself. It had nothing to do with it. But that's why it's such a, like, that would be kind of a scary scenario. If somebody's so inept as to think that concentration of XRP equates to permissions over the XRP ledger, and in terms of, like, is it centralized or decentralized, that would be a scary prospect. If that person has power over anything having to do with XRP, I'm a little terrified there, because that would be a person that's clueless, perhaps even stupid. And John writes the following: a valid argument exists that the XRP ledger is more decentralized than the Ethereum network. In fact, one could argue that, at times, the XRP ledger has been more decentralized than the Bitcoin network. Until very recently, an overwhelming percentage of Bitcoin mining was centrally located in China. In 2019, it had reached as high as 75%. Now, more significant, 3 years ago, Bitcoin mining giant Bitmain mined 42% of all blocks in 1 week, steadily moving closer to controlling a majority, 51%, of the network hash rate. So how do the above facts affect the concept of sufficiently decentralized? Well, if 4 miners control 65% of the Bitcoin network hash rate, is Bitcoin sufficiently decentralized? I can make a strong argument that the XRP ledger is more decentralized than Ether, both today and back in 2018, when Ethereum investors convinced Hinman to give Ethereum a regulatory-free pass. Don't believe me? Then listen to lawyers like Nancy Wojtas and Wendy Moore, who are involved in the private meetings between Ether investors and Hinman. Wojtas disagreed with Hinman and stated Ether was not decentralized. Notice how Wendy Moore reacts with, "Why isn't Ripple?" And so I'm not going to play this clip. In fact, I'm going to just pause this right here. So Nancy's the one in the middle. I referenced her at the beginning, or earlier on in this video, just a little bit. And she I'll tell you what, she has a strong opinion. I'm not going to play the clip, but if you actually heard the clip, like, you could see her where she's just, like, very matter of fact. She's just like, it seems like her mind's blown that William Hinman could believe what he believes, or what he says he believes anyway. Because, look, she said, it's the case that, in her opinion, she says Ethereum's fully functional, but she said it is not decentralized. She said that right here in this video clip. And then the woman on the left, Wendy, she said, yeah, and so then what about Ripple? Yeah, what about Ripple? Huh? What about that? That's eventually sued into oblivion, right? Well, not oblivion yet, but that's, if the SEC gets their way, that's what they'd have coming here. And so it's amazing, and we know this is true. We know this is the case. We're into the fine details here. We are informed, and so that's why I keep thinking back to, as long as the judge hears these facts. Because look, the judge came in as a blank slate, right? She came in as a blank slate, and so I'm optimistic that she'll respond just like any other human with at least half a brain and be like, "Yeah, of course, it's very clear, right?" And I get it. You can call me biased now, fine, but I'm just saying. Like, I was once a blank slate too, And I realized that the XRP ledger was decentralized back in 2017. Yes, I sure as hell did. I did my homework, and I was still learning. Frankly, it took me months and months and months to have a very strong stance on all sorts of things. Many, many months of, and that took hours per day of just researching this and that. And it was harder back then too to get specifics about XRP. I feel like there's more resources and stuff where you can just go to be like spoon-fed this information. You can come here to be spoon-fed, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm happy to. I love sharing all the things that I know about crypto and XRP and all that stuff. But I'm just saying, like back then in 2017, it was a bit harder to be spoon-fed this information, and you had to really dig to learn all this stuff here. But anyway, the point is, like back then, like even back then, I was like, yeah, XRP ledger is decentralized. This is important. It's actually crucial to Ripple's business model, because if the XRP ledger isn't decentralized, then you still have trust as an issue, and then XRP is never going to be utilized as a bridge currency via on-demand liquidity. Like all of this is intertwined here. Of course it's decentralized, or else I'd have a serious problem with the way that Ripple's going to market. I wouldn't think. And I'd have a serious problem with the XRP and the XRP ledger. I wouldn't really be interested in it. If it were centralized, why would I have any interest in that? I would think it's a crap coin. I would. But it's not. It most certainly is not. Anyway, John Deaton continues here. So what makes XRP centralized? Many argue the token ownership by Ripple. Yet there's nothing widespread about Bitcoin ownership. Whales continue to own most of the Bitcoin. About 2% of the anonymous ownership accounts control 95% of Bitcoin. Did you hear that? About 2% of the anonymous ownership accounts control 95% of Bitcoin. That's an astonishing number. Now, that doesn't make Bitcoin centralized. You're just talking about a concentration of Bitcoin. That has nothing to do with powers or permissions over the blockchain. Anyway, John continues. Or is decentralization determined by control over the network? If so, Ripple controls less than 5% of the validators on the XRP ledger. Ripple proposed an amendment to the XRP ledger, and it was vetoed by the majority of the XRP network for over 2 years. Let's go back to the 55% of XRP owned by Ripple. David Schwartz, co-creator of the XRP ledger, stated that a supermajority of the network could force Ripple to burn its XRP escrow. So how do we determine sufficiently decentralized? The Southern District New York Court in Telegram cited a very simple test. Before I read further, though, I do want to just mention a couple things about this. And this is true. With the decentralized nature of the XRP ledger, the validators could vote to burn any XRP that exists. So that's why it's like the nature of any decentralized system is such that if you have to, in order to participate, you have to abide by the rules that are coded into it. And so like any decentralized system, it's only decentralized insofar as it does whatever the group that's operating within it wants it to do. That's the point, though, right? And so if Ripple starts to just operate in bad faith, then if the community doesn't like it, then it's bye-bye Ripple's holdings of XRP. That's it. And they're not going to do that outside of that. I can't imagine that. Because right now, Ripple's the biggest cheerleader for a healthy XRP ecosystem. It doesn't make sense. That would be counterproductive right now. But that is the truth. And Ripple could do nothing about that, mind you. There's absolutely nothing that they could do. Well, that screams of decentralization, right? Of course it does. Anyway, John Deaton continues. So, and he said again, so how do we sufficiently determine sufficiently decentralized? And then he wants to go and talk about the Telegram here, which the court cited a very simple test regarding this. It's called the Bahamas test. You simply ask, what if the creators or promoters of the token took the money they made from sales of the token and disappeared to the Bahamas? Would the token or the technology/platform survive without further effort by those same promoters? We know the answer with XRP and the XRP ledger. Of course it would continue to exist. The XRP ledger has a built-in decentralized exchange, the first decentralized exchange of its kind. There are hundreds of developers building on the XRP ledger, independent of Ripple. In 2018, if Ripple and its executives disappeared to the Bahamas with the money made from XRP sales, the XRP ledger continues. In 2018, when Hinman gave the free pass, Would Ether have survived if Vitalik Buterin and Joseph Lubin and company disappeared to the Bahamas? What about Ether 2.0? Lubin and Vitalik admit they knew Ether wouldn't scale when they built it, and it's still being worked on today. And he shared a little clip there, which I'm not going to share for the purpose of this video, but I've already talked about that in the past. Even Mark Cuban recently said he was confident Vitalik will figure it out. That's a quote. Vitalik will figure it out. Oh, wait a minute. Why does... Let me ask, can I ask you? I'm sure some of you out there... Help me, because I don't know. I'm just a simple, stupid little moon Lambo. How is it that, since Ethereum's clearly sufficiently decentralized, why does Vitalik need to figure out anything for Ethereum? Since it's decentralized. Could you help me? Because I'm missing something. I'm a simpleton. I don't get it. Somebody let me know in the comment section, please. I can't understand complex things on my own. John continues. The Bahamas decentralization test is magnificent in its simplicity. When you consider that test along with Hester Peirce's safe harbor proposal, it's not difficult to figure out what the U.S. should do. Come up with objective criteria that gives clarity and promotes innovation in the United States Congress is unlikely to act. Gensler wants maximum uncertainty so he can continue to pick the winners and the losers. In the meantime, the crypto market in the United States could rise or fall on what happens in the Southern District of New York, where sufficient decentralization could get redefined. Over 50,000 XRP holders are trying to do their part, while many fail to realize that almost all tokens are in danger. Round of applause for John Deaton. What an incredible thread. I love it when he puts these things together. There's a reason I highlight these on my channel. Credit where it's due. The man has a way with words. And just putting together all of the crucial information like in one spot in an easy to understand manner. Yup. This is a huge service to the XRP community and thus everybody in crypto, because this is going to be highly consequential, again, not just for XRP and XRP holders, but for the entire crypto space. And there will be global implications of this, for sure. So this is a big deal. And I know that we get it, and we know we're on the right side of history. Now we need the court to do its thing and straighten out this whole damn mess. And I'm still optimistic. I've been impressed overall with what I've seen from the judges to this point. I'll go ahead and wrap up here, though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.